TCU presents a different and a unique style of defense for us as an offense. They're a 3-3-5, where they have very athletic, rangy defensive ends. They got basically two seniors on the edges. They got one true freshman that's their anchor that has done a tremendous job to come in and play as a true freshman. Then the second level of their defense, their linebackers and their nickel are all veteran guys. They're very fast on the second level. Winters really sticks out as being one of the leaders and one of their defensive players that really you got to know where he is and be aware of where his locations are on the defense. And then on the back end, you got Thomason, the Thorpe winner. Then they got several transfer portal guys that have kind of filled in. They have basically 8 seniors, and then you add those 3 transfer portal guys, and Hodges, I think the outside linebacker, 57 that plays from Navy, that came from Navy, adds to that. So they got a very veteran group. A lot of defensive guys who played a lot of football, and you can see that they've gelled very well. You got to credit Coach Patterson for kind of recruiting those younger guys and that development, but then just Coach Dykes and Coach Gillespie, the DC, implementing their new culture and just getting that buy-in for that defense and just an overall team philosophy. So they present a lot of unique issues that we don't see in our league, and it's been a lot of hard work for our scout team to try to emulate and give us a picture to help us be successful on Monday night, hopefully.
You're one of the few people in this room that goes back to 2016. Anytime there's a new regime, a new coach, new way of doing things, there's some level of resistance or tough transition. What do you remember from that season, the difficulties of that season?
I remember having to get on the bus because a new facility was being built. I remember getting on the bus, having to ride basically 15 to 20 minutes to a solar panel area where we had practice, having to get off that bus and go back. So you lost a lot of travel time. I also remember when we did have inclement weather, we would try to go down to Flowery Branch and borrow Atlanta's indoor or use I think it was the Dome then. So that was a 3-hour just travel trip. So I remember the travel times being very, very hard on our kids, and just that structure of practice where you lose out on that consistency.
I know that I spoke to Lorenzo Carter and Jim Blazevich and a few other guys about the practicing was different than under the previous regime. Was that there was some. It wasn't necessarily open rebelling, but there was a little bit of, I'm not used to doing things this way. Some guys just never clearly got on board. Mm-hmm. As a coach, could you sort of see that some guys?
I wouldn't necessarily say they didn't get on board. I think Coach Smart had a high standard for us as coaches and our players, and it was our job to create a very fast practice. Coach Smart's very organized. He expects coaches to know exactly where we're going and be ahead of the kids and getting those guys going in the right direction. This program was built on physicality, and I know a lot of our kids refer to Tuesday practice as Bloody Tuesday, which is a very physical practice, but it's not necessarily actual blood. But our strength coaches will do some things to make it more exciting, to get our guys motivated on a Tuesday practice. But there is a lot of good on good where you get a chance to play against basically, best offense, best defense in our conference. So we try to make Tuesdays harder than the game, and I think our kids and coaches have done a great job of buying into that.
And one last thing, with TCU getting in this year, and obviously playoffs eventually expanding to 12 teams, how much more difficult is it going to be for the quote-unquote traditional college football powers to navigate through a postseason every year and almost even establish sort of a dynasty or whatever, like Georgia's trying to do?
Well, I don't know about dynasty, but I just know the standard that we have first goal is always to win the SEC East. Then if you can win the SEC, and then whatever comes out of that normally provides a great opportunity to make the top 4, and you would think the top 12 when the CFP expands that to 12 teams. I do think it will be a challenge. How they're going to determine the venues. If you just think back to this, it was very, very cold where you had all the inclement weather and things of that sort. So I think there are some things that they're going to have to make some decisions on locations and how that progresses. Michael.
Coach Dell McGee, man, you're a Columbus guy just like myself, So what's it like, coming from Columbus and being on the national stage like that?
Well, you should be able to answer that question better than me. But had a great opportunity to recruit Michael. Great family, great kid, great person. I think it's always an honor to be able to put our home city on the map by what we do day in and day out. It's not about this stage. I think it's just our everyday, the way we handle our business. Very fortunate and happy to be in this position for second year in a row, and very happy that you're going to be part of this process where you can add value to the guys that come after you, and you're going to be able to help A.J. Harris and Kelvin Smith, who are also from the Columbus area, understand what it takes to be productive and hopefully make it back here.
Thank you for your time.
All right. Yeah. Hey.
Can you talk about what Dejon brings to the running game, adding to that running back room, and kind of his attributes that complement or add to what you guys already have?
First of all, Dejon's a very hard worker. He's very quiet. All he knows is to grind and say yes sir, no sir. Having Dejon is a very refreshing because you don't see guys like that just doesn't complain about anything, whether it's carries, whether it's playing on special teams and having to go back in. And that's what's very, very unique about Dejon. Has a great feel for running the football, inside and outside of tackles. He has a receiving ability where we trust him in the pass game, and he's also sturdy enough to be able to pick up blitzes when that occurs. So I think Dejon's a complete back, and we're very fortunate to have him.
In your running back room, obviously, they kind of complement each other. How important is that, especially against a team like TCU, to be able to put guys in there and not have to worry about, we have to go to Kenny here, we have to go to Dejon here. They all can kind of do different things, but like you said, the trust that you have in all. How important is that to make a title run like you guys are?
I think it's important, just the depth that we have. We've had a couple of injuries that we've kind of had to withstand, and we have a next man up mentality, and I think our guys have really stepped up. When guys have went down, in particular Kendall went down, and Branson had to play a little bit more than expected early on in the season. And just like you say, we got to make sure anyone that's on the trip is prepared, because our standard is it doesn't matter if you're old enough, you're good enough, and next man up mentality. But all three of those guys are going to be instrumental in us being successful on Monday night. And it's not just running the football, it's going to be playing special teams and adding value there, because TCU does an outstanding job in their teams. And just like I mentioned previously, their style of defense is very unique. They fly around to the ball, and they're gang tacklers. So trying to keep our guys fresh is the goal.
Last question, the experience factor. How much do you think that's going to play Monday night? Obviously, Georgia's been in big games. A lot of the players have been in these moments before, whether they were starting or not. They've experienced this. How big of a role is that going to play in Monday night's game?
I think both teams have experience because we're at week 15, so I don't think the moment's going to be too high for either team. So I don't think either team has an advantage. I think other than running out of tunnel playing in SoFi. And I think both teams have practiced and will practice there and kind of get that out of the way. But after that first whistle blows, the first kickoff or kickoff return, it's just playing football.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
No, I didn't see that. Appreciate it. Sick, yo. Sick. Hey, you doing all right?
Just curious, how is this different than last year? Obviously, you guys went in 17, back in 21, well, I guess 22. Now we're here in 23. But is there, obviously, there's always pressure with a game like this, but having that 41-year gap erased, is there a deeper kind of sense of belief, or what's the vibe?
I just think this team has a different mindset. They want to do something different this year, and right now they've put themselves in a position to be different than even last year's team. There was a lot of talk and outside noise about how many NFL draft picks we had, and I think those guys, our players, took that upon themselves to make it a benefit, and you could kind of see the growth and the maturity of our entire team as the season progressed, and you can't say enough about that leadership and maturation process to be in this position.
You talked a little bit about how you guys lost a lot of players last season to the draft and the transfer portal. What was the tactic for recruiting and bringing in new players to fill that void?
It's always to bring in the best student athlete we can that we feel like can be successful in the classroom as well as on the football field. That just goes back to Coach Smart's recruiting philosophy. We want to make sure we get the right kid that fits the mode of what represents Georgia football. I really don't look at it where we lost kids to the portal. I do think the kids that were in our program, they got a chance to learn a lot from the older guys, and I just think when you can have good leadership and the younger guys buy into that leadership and they understand that they're going to be in those roles the following years, and they're able to kind of make the team their own and create their own identity and voice. I think that showed up more than and it's just a very good compliment to those guys that have embraced this year's team.
One of those players I've noticed is Malachi. How has he been able to make a difference on the field and also in the locker room?
Malachi's just a great young man. I think having older veteran guys around him, Dan Jackson and Chris Smith, he was able to lean on those veterans to get through, a little bit of the freshman jitters. We're in week 15, so now he's not really considered a true freshman anymore. He's played a lot of football, and I think he has confidence in his abilities, and hopefully they'll show up on Monday night.
How would you describe Malachi as a person off the field?
He's a very humble kid. I think he's a great teammate. He says hello to everyone in the organization. He's a very likable person, smiling. He can joke around, so I think he has a lot of versatility to him. He's actually, one of the young guys that will be a leader moving forward.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, what do you think about bowl season this year? The number of games, the number of crazy matchups that's happened this year. TCU being this game, you guys being steady and being able to get here and stay here. What does that say about just college football for this season?
I really hadn't even watched bowl games, to be honest with you. We've been doing so much with, so I hadn't really paid attention. I just think it's different now. If you're not in the Final Four or in that playoff hunt, I think the teams that are playing in bowls, they're not their true team. So the wins and losses with conferences, I don't think it's a direct reflection of what it would really look like. Because you got the kids that opt out, kids that decide not to play because they're going to go into NFL draft, so you're not getting that full complement or that exact team that you could have saw. So it's, I think adding more teams to the playoff will help college football and keep the portal issues down and kind of under the weather. So
We don't want to get into a conversation about the portal.
man, that thing is rough. What's up, Warren?
Where are you going to go when this is all done this year? Where's the vacation? First spot lined up?
Hadn't even decided yet. I hadn't even decided. So
12 minutes, coach.
how long have y'all always done it like this, where you do your 30 minutes?
No,
What made?
it's like whenever, like co-offensive coordinator kind of thing, co-defensive coordinators, Did it with Clemson, Tony Scott or Tony Elliott.
I got you.
Can't remember the other one.
Because it wasn't like that in Indy last year.
What was that?
It wasn't like that in Indianapolis.
No, you were doing Zoom last year.
Zoom.
We didn't-
It was
we
it
didn't have
COVID?
me- We didn't have media day.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's-
Since New Orleans was the last time we had it. So,
I got you. That makes sense. Oh, y'all think this is quick?
You're only up here 30 minutes.
No, I'm not saying that. I mean, Coach Marvin them there for an hour.
It's better than the preseason one.
Yeah, you got a point there. Mm-hmm. Who did?
Garrett Riley, Lincoln, younger brother. There's a bunch of questions about Lincoln earlier. Yeah. Now he went an hour and 3 minutes straight. Basically talking about Lincoln.
Seen him last week. That's right here.
I didn't see you last week, actually.
I'm here with, can I call you Dell, Coach?
No.
I'm here with Coach McGee. It's Brooks in here too. And Coach McGee, freshman year, you called the run and play to Jalen Carter in the Tennessee game to score a touchdown. Do you think, if I put the time in, do I have the ability to run in the touchdown? We throw that heavy back shit. Do you think I'll ever have the shot to do it? Did you ever call a 97 dive?
Well, first off, it was a pass play to Jalen. He didn't actually run the ball
I want to be
in.
different, Coach, so I have to run the ball.
If you
I want to be a running back, not a receiver.
if you put in the work, we may think about it. How about that?
I can agree with that. There might be a slight chance you see number 97 crossing the edges. Maybe such a game.
I think you'd be better suited to play tight end, though.
A blocking tight end, I'll do anything that helps the team win. I was on that for 2 practices. They took me off. Why?
Someone performed better.
So Oscar Gillespie took my job. We're going to end it there. Thank you, Coach Williams.
All right, Warren. You got a great career, man.
did you play college ball?
Played at Auburn. 91 to 95.
Always been just living in the South?
Actually, I lived out here. I played in XFL the 1 year it lasted out here. Played for the LA Extreme with Al Luganbill was the head coach at that time, 2001. Lived in Long Beach. Very expensive back then, too.
So especially on the XFL side.
Yeah. Actually, we had 4 roommates and in a 2-bedroom. It was still like $3,500 or something, if I remember correctly. So, and we should alternate who slept in the bedroom. So, yep. The things you do.
Probably wouldn't go back and change it though, would you?
Nah, can't change that. All I can do is learn from their past experiences and just move forward. Where are you from originally?
So I work for the Mountain West Conference right now.
Okay.
From Colorado.
Okay.
Spend any time out there?
No, I hadn't.
It's a great place to live.
Yeah. Lived in Arizona. Got drafted by the Cardinals in '96, so I was there for 3 years.
That's where I'm from. I live in Arizona.
Okay, what part?
Chandler.
Oh yeah, I stayed in Awatuki.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right next to each other.
Yep. No, I was very. I liked Arizona.
Larry Fitzgerald lives. Well, he has a house in Awatuki. I don't know if he lives there anymore.
Oh.
But up in the mountain, up the hills there.
Okay. Yeah. No, I liked Arizona. Really, I went back for the first time this past summer.
Oh, really?
Had like a little coaching small convention there this summer. Stayed in what's this? Scottsdale.
Yeah.
The that Camelback, I think that golf resort.
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah.
it's grown.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It takes you
It's
an hour and a
really
half.
was.
You can go an hour
Ladies
and a
and
half.
gentlemen, 5 minutes are remaining in the Georgia media
You
session.
got a problem?
5
Ralph
minutes
Russo
are
from the
remaining.
Associated Press. Nice
All
to
right.
meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you.
I know you got
Fans, don't forget to join us all weekend for Playoff Fan Central.
Georgia
Playoff
native.
Fan Central.
I am from Georgia. Coached high school ball in Georgia. Yes, sir.
I just want to make sure
Yep.
what I'm interested to ask you about is, listen, Georgia's always produced great football players. It does seem like over the last, 10, 15 years, as those suburbs have developed, it's maybe gotten even better. The football talent in Georgia, what do you look at when you see sort of the development of football talent in Georgia, high school talent? Again, not that it hasn't been good, but it does seem like it's sort of gone to another level in the last maybe 10, 15 years.
Yeah, well, I would say that the Little League and Pop Warner programs are very effective, and it kind of stems from that. I also think that the high school coaches in the state of Georgia do a tremendous job of implementing an exact system like colleges. When you talk about the structure of practice, their off seasons, summer conditioning, they just do a tremendous job of preparing student athletes for high school, which are very attractive to a lot of college recruiters from all across the nation. Georgia's a hotbed. If you look at the statistics of NFL players that come out of the state of Georgia, I would say per capita, you're probably talking about the number one state when you're talking about NFL readiness.
I'll follow this. So in some ways, it's like, well, hey man, those kids all want to grow up going to Georgia. What a great benefit to the University of Georgia. But there's a great airport in Atlanta. Everybody can get to Georgia. I mean, give me the balance there of like, hey, we're fending off a lot of people, but they also are in your backyard, and a lot of them kids have an attachment. So what's the dynamic of sort of like those recruiting battles?
I would just say that when you mention the Atlanta airport, and when kids from a distance that's not in your 5-hour radius that has to get on a flight, and they want to go visit, Alabama, Auburn, Clemson, Tennessee, Florida, you're able to attract those guys to come to your campus. I also think that so many of the camps, whether it's Rivals, where they have those camps in Atlanta, and they're getting kids nationally to come in. You're always trying to get those kids to stop by your university as well. So I just think the off-season events gains and adds exposure to our program, and it allows the interest level for them to come and visit us.
So having national kids kind of be in Georgia's backyard, that does sort of help as far as you identifying what national. When I say national, it's Brock, guys like that helps.
Well, I would say that was a recruiting piece, identification. It doesn't matter what state a student athlete lives in. We got a criteria that we go by. If they fit that criteria, then we're going to recruit our position, not just in our state, but nationally.
But it helps out a pretty nice state. It doesn't make it a little, I shouldn't say easier.
Well, it doesn't make it easier. I mean, when you're going out of state, you're really identifying someone that fits the standard and the mold that you want to bring into your program. So going out of state is a great deal, and it just shows that Coach Smart's willing to take kids outside that 5-hour radius.
Thanks, Doug. Thank you, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, talk to me a little bit about the transition from analyst at Auburn to getting the job at.
Ladies and gentlemen, there is 1 minute remaining in the Georgia media session. 1 minute remaining.
What are the biggest steps that you think that helped you transition?
Well, I'll first off say just being a high school coach, I was able to have Nick Saban, Urban Meyer, Pete Carroll come recruit kids, and I got a chance to see those guys sales pitches. I saw what I liked, saw what I didn't like. I saw who was genuine, who was kind of feeding the kids BS. So that helped me in my recruiting now, and I kind of use some of the things. But more importantly, I just think you got to be genuine. Did learn a lot at Auburn. Got to give a lot of thanks to Gus for giving me the opportunity to enter the college realm. And recruiting has changed so much now just because of the transfer portal, NIL. So there's just added, I wouldn't say pressure, but just different variables out there that certain kids are going to flock to, and you just got to identify the right student athlete that's not about NIL necessarily, but it is important. And I know we're very competitive when it comes to that. And you got to want to play at Georgia to be at Georgia.
Today's media day. For those members of the media who took transportation from the media hotel, departures will begin shortly in the same location as drop-off.
Just shows his relentlessness, the way he keeps and upholds his coaches to a high standard. It's a credit to every member in our organization, and it's a very surreal opportunity. Very fortunate to be in this position. I think it goes to show the leadership of our team now that they were able to embrace this opportunity and try to create their own identity and trying to do something different.